the 13th of February 2023, the small, vibrant coastal community of Muriwai Beach, northwest of Auckland, New Zealand, was ripped apart by Cyclone Gabrielle. This podcast captures what happened on the night and in the days, months and years that followed. Join me, Mandy Jakic, as I speak to fellow Muriwai locals, volunteers and those involved in the emergency and recovery effort. Hear about their experiences of loss and upheaval, the impact on their lives, and the community-led initiatives that helped Muriwai find a way forward. Welcome to Precipice. Andrew Jackson is my guest in this episode. Andrew is the General Manager of the Muriwai Links Golf Club and was manager at the time of Cyclone Gabrielle. He and his team were very involved on the night of the cyclone and in the recovery and restoration of Muriwai.
Ended up having 3 barbecues going. Mike Van der Elsen came down. He was helping out with the barbecue. And we had 700 people turn up. We had a temporary bar going downstairs with a barbecue, and I think we got through 9 kegs.
Andrew shares how the club prepared for the weather event and what they expected, how the golf club supported the surf club and the community on the night of the cyclone, supporting more than 60 people with accommodation, food and bedding. And he explains the challenges and considerations for the golf club in the immediate aftermath. Andrew talks about a fundraising event the golf club organised where $50,000 was raised for the fire brigade, what he has learned through this experience as the golf club manager, and what the club has done to prepare for a future disaster. He explains the support they received from council, how he sees the club as part of and a resource for the community.
A lot of golf clubs in the country are seen as exclusive, and we're certainly not. We're totally inclusive for everybody.
And he shares where the golf club is at now.
Well, my name is Andrew Jackson, and I'm very lucky to be the general manager of Muriwai Golf Club. I have been for 9 years now. It's been quite a journey. Originally moved to Huapai 12 years ago with my very young family, and we decided to move out here to be able to join Muriwai Golf Club because we were both very keen golfers. Myself and my wife, and members at the Howard Golf Club over on the east. So we've now moved up to the beautiful northwest and been a member of Muriwai for 12 years. So absolutely loving it. Spend most of my time in Muriwai, even though I live at Huapai. I work in Muriwai. I play in Muriwai. We go to the beach at Muriwai. Both of my girls are surf club nippers and actually national champions now as well. So I'm very proud of that. And that's down to the fact that we live in Muriwai. March 2017, I started the role after 40 years in engineering. So I totally changed careers. I wasn't a golf manager. I am now, though. I can say I've got 9 years experience. We've got nearly 30 staff here now at Muriwai. We're one of the top clubs in the country. And the course itself is being transformed into a beautiful links golf course. And we're very, very lucky to be sharing this beautiful plot of land with all the wildlife we've got here. So we've got a wildlife restoration fund going on, and the program for that has been going now for about 5 or 6 years. And you can certainly see the difference on the course. All of the not just the native wildlife, but we got lots of pheasants and quail just running around there, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So very lucky to be sharing my role as manager with this picturesque land we've got here.
Moving on to the Cyclone Gabrielle event, what information did you get about the coming weather event and what were you expecting?
Well, we got the severe weather warning, and we'd had a few severe weather warnings previous to that, and we had a really bad flood, I think, the week before or 2 weeks before. I live in Huapai, but the whole village was flooded. We were okay. We were on a little bit of a high ground near the school, so we escaped that. But then we were expecting pretty bad weather. When you get a cyclone coming in, it's you need to take it seriously.
As a golf club, did you did you prepare in some way for what was coming?
We took the flags down. Um, yeah, we did. We prepared to close the course because we've got a big operation here. We've got nearly 1,200 members now, and to close the course is quite a major thing. But so we were preparing to close the course, and that's basically what we were. We weren't expecting it to be as bad as it turned out. So that's all we were doing, preparing to close the course.
And did you have any worries at that time?
Yeah, I was very concerned, and the buildings, the trees, everything that was here. I didn't really expect there'd be a danger to life itself. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but yeah, we were worried, we were concerned.
What was that night like for you in your role as manager?
Well, we where I live in Uruguay, we're quite sheltered, so it was coming, I think, from the southwest, the winds, and so we're sheltered, and I didn't hear a thing. So Nick Thompson called me at one a.m. in the morning. He sounded irate. He was very worried, concerned. You could hear noise in the background, and he was saying that the surf club had flooded, and we needed to open up the clubhouse to allow people to go and take refuge in the clubhouse. So I was like, wow, that's really bad. That's really bad. So we got one of the members, called him on his. Oh, sorry, he's actually he was one of our pros at the time, Jimmy Avery, one of the locals. He opened the clubhouse. There was a few of our members as well who are locals, all assisted and made sure everybody got into the clubhouse safely. Obviously, there was a power cut, so I called our electrical contractor, Luke Navarro, from Alpha Electrical, local guy, and does a lot of the local work. He was able to organise a generator for us, and had first thing in the morning, the generator arrived. So we were in darkness for a few hours, and then we had about 60 people in the clubhouse by the time I got here in the morning at 7 a.m. The generator was up and running, and people were having breakfast and were being looked after. It was obviously quite how should I put it, a sad atmosphere, because there was two families in particular that were affected quite badly.
And how did you actually get all your staff there? Because obviously, Muriwai Road was quite blocked, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
carnage. How did you get your people there?
Well, we have a lot of local staff anyway, and they just came in. Some of them weren't rostered to be working, so we just give everybody a bit of a call. Are you available to come in and help? And from then, the staff just basically came in every day. I got in touch with the chairman of the board and said, look, you need to give me the approval to help out the community here. And they straight away said, the board said straight away, they said, yes, you need to do what you need to do, and use any of the club's resources, staff. They're all there for you, for your to use. And I was in a really good position that we had some brilliant staff who stayed here overnight to help out the families that were staying here, and made sure everybody was fed and watered and comfortable.
How did the community know that the golf course was available to go to?
They didn't. It was, I think, at the time, Nick Thompson, was I mentioned before. He said you can go to the golf club. We'll be able to open it for you. But we weren't actually the official emergency refuge. Although we put our hand up to be there in the future, we can do that because we're on a little bit of high ground. So we're not, the clubhouse isn't liable to flood. But no, I don't think the community knew that we were available. But we certainly are now.
Yeah, which is great. Were they taking people from the surf club and sending them down to the golf course?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly how they got here, but they might have come through the fields, or the par five, fifth hole along there to the club. There was a few cars here in the morning as well, so people had driven here as well. So it was the village was pretty much carnage. There was only one way in. and had to come through a cordon to get here. But that was managed pretty well in the future. That cordon was managed very well, actually.
What were the initial biggest challenges for the golf club?
So the biggest challenge for us was how to be able to house all the people that needed housing, and we did manage that, and we had a lot of members who donated bedding. There was one company in particular who donated uh, temporary beds that you could roll out, and so that was the biggest challenge initially was being able to give people space. One family living in the boardroom, um, and that was fine. We were okay with that, and they were living in the boardroom for 2 weeks, and they had two dogs as well.
How did they go for food and that kind of thing? Were they using the food hub down the road or?
Yeah. The food, we had plenty of food in the freezers, and because we weren't open for business, the board approved us to use anything that we had. In fact, there was a barbecue organised on the Thursday. I think the cyclone was on the Tuesday, and the council organised a meet at the golf club to let everybody know what was happening. And they said, we'll bring some sausages along, and you can put a barbecue on. And I said, well, we might need a little bit more than that, but we'll sort it. And we ended up having 3 barbecues going. Mike Van Delsen came down. He was helping out with the barbecue, and we had 700 people turn up. So we also had the beer and the beer fridge. We said, well, we can't use that, so we might as well bring it downstairs. And we had a temporary bar going downstairs with a barbecue, and I think we got through 9 kegs. Yeah, so it was a strange atmosphere because obviously people were very, very upset, and but it also gave them the opportunity to give each other a hug because and also to meet the heroes that were there on that night. The fire brigade were here as well, and not all of them obviously, but they were here as well, and everybody just came together and had a night out.
Yeah, which is so good. And it's amazing that you could provide those resources.
Well, we didn't. We weren't the only ones providing food. There was people turning up with smoked fish. There was all kinds. So we had plenty.
Yeah. In those sort of days in that first week, what kind of things did you have to set up at the golf club?
The council actually set up their emergency base here for a few days. So for that first week, they were here, and then they moved down into the surf club when it got cleaned up and everything. But so the council were here and for that first week. After that, the clubhouse was available for anybody who needed it. So we didn't really need to send anything up.
Going forward from there, what were your sort of specific roles in the recovery as a golf club and as a manager?
Right from the start, there was the Muriwai Community Emergency Network formed, and that was the day after the cyclone. So that was formed, and they met here at the golf club, and we were part of that. So we had myself and Tolan Henderson, who was our operations manager. He was massive in this thing as well. He did a hell of a lot. He was in that meeting as well. So they were meeting every day. So that meant that because there was 2 of us, if one of us couldn't make it for whatever reason, there was always somebody from the golf club represented, and those people that were actually involved in those meetings, they're absolute brilliant people. They were lovely, and we don't really see much of them now. I mean, Kathy obviously isn't in the village anymore, but as the owner of the cafe, her cafe was being used for meetings as well, and she was instrumental in a lot of the stuff that we did. But that whole emergency team, they were fantastic. They were fantastic. So I basically went to the meetings nearly every day, and if I wasn't there, Tolan was there as well. Then we would come back with what they required us to do. So we would then go to the staff club or the members and get them to help out with everything. If there was any food required or clothing or anything that was needed, we would be able to convey that back to the members. So it was tough. We didn't actually know what to do, but then after a few days, it became quite routine, and we were able to go to different members and different staff to actually ask them to help out. We also had a fund being raised by the members, and we were organising pretty much straight away. We organised a fundraising event, which was to be held in April, and we managed to raise $57,000 for the fire brigade at that event. And that type of thing. Members just they were happy. They were happy to give to help out. Just to help out the community. Bearing in
Mm.
mind, quite a few of the members are actually part of the community as well, so that they're all local members.
Yeah. And it just seems amazing the way the club came together, as you said, the members and also the staff and yourself.
Yep.
And, you kind of all rallied around to really support the community.
Yeah. Well, I call it's Team Murray. It's Team Murray.
What have you learned about the recovery of an event like that as a golf club and as a manager? And what could you pass on to other communities?
Well, you really need to expect the worst, and don't take anything for granted. That with something like that, it was horrendous. It really was. And if you're slightly prepared, then fine. But you really need to be fully prepared for something like that. So now we've got a generator. We spent $50,000 on a generator that's permanent here. So if anything happens, we have got that backup that the community is welcome to come down if anything, because quite often the Murray power does go out. As you know, it's quite fragile. So we're there. I mean, we've got that generator. I think the surf club's got one now as well, and that they are a result of the cyclone. So just being prepared. We do have emergency bedding here as well, so that's all stacked away if needed in the future.
That's good. And then you've often got sort of extra surplus food or food, for the
Yes,
future in the
yeah,
freezers. So that's always a good resource.
yeah, and we also now have a brand new head chef. So
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? That you don't really know what to expect, and you don't necessarily think it's ever going to happen until it
yeah,
happens. And
no,
then you do a lot of learning, and then you can actually prepare for a subsequent event.
exactly. And you also realise how helpful people can actually be. And some people just come out of the woodwork and say, "I'm there, I'm helping," and those people are still here at the club, and they will be there in the future. So you can rely on those people. That we're a golf club with members who really care about the community. So we're
Yeah.
very lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you feel as a golf club and as a manager again about the level of support that you received from other organisations like the local council or local government?
Yep, we received support from the council. Well, we did have the cordon in place, and that meant that only locals could go through. The council, after a bit of persuasion, we said we really need to be open to be able to support the community. We need to be able to function, and if we don't have revenue coming in from golfers, we won't be able to help, and we just won't be here. We're a not-for-profit organisation, and we can't afford to not have people playing golf. So they allowed us to give them the start sheet for the next day was taken to the people at the cordon, and they were ticking off people as they came in to play golf. And that was a massive help for us. If we weren't able to do that, we wouldn't have been able to survive very long. So that was a massive help.
Did you find that a lot of the community were coming to play golf as a sort of way to help them emotionally and sort of help with their well-being?
Definitely, definitely. Even just coming down to have a walk around the place, and we were happy to allow that. It wasn't a problem for us at all. But yes,
Yeah.
it lovely to see people here.
Yeah, and it's great that there was somewhere that people could actually go,
Yeah,
to help with that.
I mean that barbecue proved that people were stranded from one end of the village to the other, so they hadn't seen their friends from the other end of the village, and they came to the barbecue, and it was very emotional, very emotional. So it was nice for them to be able to just go somewhere.
Was there anything that you needed that you didn't have access to? I mean, obviously the generator came to you pretty quickly through the local electrician. But was there
Yeah.
anything else that you might have needed that you couldn't access, or anything else that you feel you would like to have if an event like that happened again?
Not really. I think we're pretty much covered for the future, and we don't really um, think that we won't be prepared for it. So I think we've got access to everything we need now.
And how do you feel like the Muriwai community responded, and what do you think we did really well?
Well, they came together. The Muriwai community were there for each other, and it was amazing to see the response of people that came to volunteer at the surf club to take the food and just to help out. There was an amazing response from the village. Obviously, there was a lot of people who were stranded, who didn't have anywhere to live. So there were people that came forward and said, you can stay with us for a while." And it was just amazing to see the community come together like that.
Have you noticed a change at all in the way the community connect with the golf club?
Yeah, it was. There's certainly the community have realised that the golf club isn't a place that you can't access. I mean, it's part. We are part of the community. We're just sharing this land with the community. You know, and I think they see that they see it as hopefully as a part of the community, because we would like to be part of it. And a lot of golf clubs in the country are seen as exclusive, and we're certainly not. We're totally inclusive for everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think golf clubs, if you've got a community on your doorstep, then you need to be part of it. You just can't exclude yourself from the community. And I'm very happy the community are from the golf club now.
Yeah. And I feel like it sort of, for me, it was a place, is because I'm not a golfer, it was a
Yeah.
place that I didn't feel like I belonged. But now there's definitely a bigger sense of belonging and connection to the club,
Yep.
because I
Yeah.
think I understand that you feel part of the community and you want us to feel part of the club, even though we may not be members. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we've got right on the doorstep, we've got the volunteer fire brigade, and on the other doorstep, we've got the volunteer surf lifesavers, and it's a community. It's a community to be proud of, actually. Muriwai is very famous, and it's not famous because of the golf club. It's famous because of the community.
With the cafe closing sort of later, sort of probably what, a year later, you have stepped up a bit with cafe services, haven't you?
Well, our cafe has always been open to the general public, but we weren't allowed to advertise. There's a rule that you're only allowed a certain amount of cafes on regional park, and so we weren't allowed to advertise. But we've got a few adverts out there that we're open to the public, and yes, we'd be more than happy to accept anybody into the clubhouse if they want to come for a cup of coffee.
And that's especially needed, I think, now because, the Sand Dunes Cafe has been
Yeah,
closed.
there's a lot of well, there's a lot of political stuff going on the council, and I'm not sure why they actually want to own a cafe. It's not really what they should be doing. And it's very sad that that cafe is no longer in use. And we were very close with Kathy. And when she had that cafe running, she obviously went through the same struggles we did with COVID, and then the cyclone, and it was in the end just too much. But we totally understand the struggles that she had.
Yeah.
We were there for her.
And it's such a shame because she did so much for the community. She was the sort of
Yep.
another one of the meeting places, but also she gave away free coffees and,
Yep.
really, even though it was hard on her financially, she was looking after the
Yep.
community.
A legend.
A
Very good.
legend. We miss her and we miss the cafe.
Yeah.
Were there moments of kindness or solidarity that really stood out for you?
Um, yes. This obviously the passing of the two brave firefighters. That still brings a lump to my throat. A lot of the fire service are members here, and to see them lose two of their mates and family, it was so sad to see that, and that sticks out for me and still does. It still does. So I remember seeing the funeral procession with the fire engine, and we were also at the time there was nobody else allowed in the village, so it was pretty surreal, really.
Do you think this experience has changed how you think about extreme weather in Aotearoa?
Certainly, certainly. I'm not one of those people that just want to go into the argument whether it's man-made or not. So I'm not going to say that, but certainly the climate is changing, and yes, I think I'm more prepared for it myself, and I think we should be prepared for major weather events, but they do seem to come across quite suddenly.
And what have you learned about yourself through this event?
I learned that I've got an extremely helpful team and thoughtful team, and not just the staff, but I've learned that the members are so caring, and also the board. The board at the time just said, "Go for it." It's helping me, so I've learned that Team Muriwai is an extremely passionate and helpful bunch of people.
Mm. And where is the golf club at now? Has it affected you financially?
No, we're okay. We're doing pretty well. Obviously there was the 2 years of COVID that was challenging, but we managed that. And then there was the cyclone year that was again challenging. We just put a few projects on hold, and one of those projects is the actual refurbishment of the clubhouse, and you probably have seen that we've started that now, and it's due to finish at the end of April. So the club is in good spirits, and financially it's going well. And once we've got that new deck open, it's going to be an amazing place to come down and watch the sunset.
Yeah, it's just such a fantastic location. It's a great building.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's iconic, the building as well. So we haven't changed the shape of it. It's still that sort of Swiss chalet shape. And the new deck is going to have a glass balustrade on, so it's going to be absolutely lovely.
Beautiful. We'll all be down there supporting the golf club. What advice can you give to people and communities or organisations like yours who are going through a similar event?
Just be there for each other. Be there for each other, and just make sure your family and your close friends are okay, and then you can spread out from there and help other people. But just be there for each other.
Is there something hopeful or meaningful you'd like to leave us with?
Muriwai Golf Club will always be there for the community. If there's ever any event like this in the future, hopefully not, Muriwai Golf Club will always be there to help out.
Precipice was commissioned and funded by Muriwai Community Association, supported by the Auckland Council Recovery Office. Artwork by Taylor Williams, soundtrack by local Muriwai band Tin People, written in response to Cyclone Gabrielle. Ngā mihi thank you to the Muriwai community for their input and bravery and for sharing their stories. And thank you for listening.